Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/PettyRevenge. In today's episode, I put vegetables in all my food to stop my roommate's kid from eating it. Mom threatens legal action. Neighbor is a continuous jerk, enjoy the 80-foot double spite wall. Give me your color suggestions. How my GF exposed a cheater and helped a friend with her own pregnancy test. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. I put vegetables in all my food to stop my roommate's kid from eating it. Mom threatens legal action. I, 26F, live in a rented house with a single mother, 30F, and her son, 6M. I had another person living with me, but they moved out and the mother moved in. I don't mind living with her and her kid. It's fine and we kind of do our own thing. I spend a lot of time at my boyfriend's place or working. Our work schedules collide, so we really don't interact much, but when we do, it's fine. No issue there. I want to start with saying that she clearly struggles financially, but I don't think it's an excuse. I don't make lots of money either. However, I've noticed that my food would go missing or portions would be taken from it. I assumed it was her kid, so I asked her if she'd stop him from eating my food. I was calm about it and she just said she would. It didn't really upset me when it first started. It started getting annoying when I'd get home from work and expect to have a meal's worth of leftovers in the fridge only to see it picked through or just gone. I kept bringing it up and she started getting annoyed with me bringing it up. Just from observing them, I realized that neither of them ever eat vegetables. And judging by the food that would get picked through and the food that would be untouched, anything with green in it was avoided. Orange chicken would be gone, but chicken and broccoli would be untouched. So I started putting vegetables in everything. I find vegetables to be delicious. And anything green or not a potato does not get eaten. So I could mix some bell peppers into the food and it would be fine. I make a big portion of vegetables pretty frequently anyway, so I just started putting it in everything I eat. If I had leftover mashed potatoes, I'd pour green beans in and mix it up. If I had leftover cheesy/bacon fries, I'd pour broccoli all over it and mix it in. Usually my homemade stuff has vegetables in it, but I started making sure everything did. I made a pot of mac and cheese, the kids' favorite thing, and poured in roasted Brussels sprouts. Which is actually delicious to me, and I'm eating more vegetables, so it's a win-win. She had been seeming annoyed, but we were all home when I made the pot of mac and cheese. She was in the living room and saw me get out the Brussels sprouts and was like, "What are you going to do with that?" And I poured them in. She said I was being greedy and annoying. I just said I like Brussels sprouts and that was it. She said we need food and I told her to go get some. Or stop buying only pre-packaged things and your money will go further. I think she sees this as some big act of revenge, but I just simply want to be able to eat my food. Also want to add that the sharing is not the issue. It's expecting to have food there and it's not. So often I'd be working a long day and get home expecting to have a meal's worth of food and it'd all be gone. Or I wake up in a rush and had my food ready to eat in the morning only to find it gone. So now I have to skip breakfast. If she would simply text sometimes, "Hey, is it okay if we eat food item?" I would know and know to make other plans. I would stop for food or know I have to whip something up when I get home. Also, I think eating the last of someone else's food is crazy and rude. If someone makes a big pot of something and you ask for a serving, sure. But if someone made something and there is one serving left and you eat it without permission, that is evil as hell. Update. So I have been steadfast with putting vegetables in everything. I've put vegetables in things I've never even thought of. This has carried on and the mom calls me a jerk but will not verbalize that she is eating my food. She just sees me making a lasagna and adding celery and bell peppers in the layers of fumes off to the side. The only thing I can't add vegetables to is snacks like chips or if I bake brownies or cookies. However, this is easily remedied by putting baked goods in a Tupperware and keeping them in my room. Same with chips. As I have previously stated, the sharing is not the issue. Recently the kid knocked on my door and asked if he would have a bag of microwave popcorn. I said yes and gave him one. All of this would be way less annoying if she'd just text, "Hey, can I have some of this?" and waited for my response before just helping herself. I do feel for the mom because she clearly struggles with cooking and trying new foods. She is older than me and winces at the thought of biting into anything green. And it is spreading to her kid, but it's no excuse. A few days ago, I was making taco meat out of ground beef, and like usual, she was looking without looking. She was off to the side watching my every move, but trying her to look normal. I made a dish the day before that involved sautéed mushrooms and cut up peppers. So when the meat was almost ready, I opened the fridge and she freaked when she saw me holding the mushrooms. She said, "Son's name, hates mushrooms," and I just poured them in the pan and mixed along with the cut up peppers. This caused her to react in a way I'd never seen from her before. She was yelling and stomping around the kitchen while the kid just watched. Felt bad for the kid to have to see his mom like that. People were worried about her tampering with my food. I don't think she's the kind to do that, but if she did, I would report that right away. She was flipping out, but she didn't snatch my food or knock anything over. She was opening and slamming cabinets, and it was all very silly. Then she started going off about how she is going to get the authorities involved. I just told her sure and that she needs to relax. She seemed genuinely upset and stressed, and I told her that I understand being a single mom is hard, but she needs to use her government assistance more responsibly. She'll come home with cold mac and cheese, sushi, and chicken from the grocery store prepared foods and blow all of it on that. I suggested food pantries and buying ingredients that last a while like potatoes. She said I was being condescending and I always have food to eat. This is to address that. Just make a portion of your food and set it aside for her and the kid. I do not make enough money to regularly feed to other people. If every now and then she asked for some of my leftovers, sure. But this is a consistent thing that was happening. It's not simple as giving her leftovers that I won't eat anyway. If I make a pot of something, I expect live off of that for the next few days. If it is eaten, then my money is messed up and I have to go shopping again and budget for more food. Wastes my time and money. I would have stopped dead in my tracks and asked her why she was telling me that her son hates mushrooms. Call her out directly. Stop skirting the issue. Her food insecurity is not your problem. Her stealing your food is your problem. I don't get why people beat around the bush in these situations. I can't believe people suggested that you make food for the kids. Some Redditors must be in the top 0.1%, lol. You sound like an awesome cook though. I think you may turn them into veggie lovers soon. I highly doubt it. As a veggie hater, I went days without eating when I was in the military cause the cooks thought they'd put veggies in whatever slop they were serving. Eating that shit never crossed my mind. That said, I'm not condemning OP. Sounds like her roommate is a piece of work. Yeah, it sounds like the mom is very eager to hand you the job of buying their groceries and feeding her kid. No way. Not your job. What I find funny is that, if they're so hungry, neither of them will stoop to eating a vegetable. You need to find a new roommate or new place to live. That situation won't get any better. I have a rule that if you eat/take the last of something, you let me know. It's not about the sharing. It's about knowing I have something and looking forward to it, only to find it gone. Replacing it later still means I don't get to enjoy something of mine when I was expecting to. OP, you are not doing anything wrong. She and her kid are not your responsibility. You could be making $1 million a year, and they still wouldn't be your responsibility. The mother, and eventually her child, needs to learn to take responsibility and take care of themselves. It's the mother's job to provide for her child, not yours. Neighbor is a continuous jerk. Enjoy the 80-foot double spite wall. Give me your color suggestions. Neighbor has been an absolute jerk for over a year. Example, my 93-year-old dad lives on the property, and it needed a roof. I let the neighbor know there will be trucks in the road I own, but one he has a right of way but no ownership. He blocks the road until the sheriff tells him to leave. Neighbor lives behind our 3/4 acre property, and it's on a downward slope, accessible only through the 15-foot right of way. So, I had a 4-foot block wall built just off the property line on the back of my property 80 feet. Then staggered another 4-foot wall behind that, and a 6-foot dog-ear fence on top of that. It is really ugly, and blocks his use of a circular driveway he had use of that the prior owners installed that relied on my land to exit. Prior owner was nice. We didn't care. So, he has one way in, and the same way out. The wall created a great big garden area behind the house I own, so it's really useful for us. Then he calls code enforcement, and turns out I needed a permit. See edit below on why we thought no permit was needed. He's gloating because he thinks I need to tear it down. I don't. I just need to process a permit and install some drains. Which would have created huge issues for me if and when I sell. So, he did me a favor. It's easy to pull a permit. I thank him for bringing it to my attention. He did not take that well. So, he's harassed my workers with threats of calling the police if they step in his property, and spends his day taping them. So, the 15-foot right-of-way across my side of the lot to access his, and the drive is not visible from my property because of trees and bushes. Additional pettiness is needed. First, we're putting up chain link to narrow the road to exactly 15 feet. Next, we are putting down several staggered speed bumps so he gets several left and right-sided bumps on the drive down to his house. Left front wheel bump, followed by right front wheel bump, followed by left rear, and the right rear. Not fun. 3 of those sections for him to leave or return home, so 6 bumps. Quite a bumpy ride. Every day. And, once the wall permit issues, the wall is going to get a fresh coat of paint. ChatGTP says the most offensive colors are fluorescent pink or lime green, and to only use one color. Any suggestions? I want the ugliest color possible, which I will obviously illuminate with some bright LED lights, all night, every night. Maybe one green and one pink? What does our /PettyRevenge recommend? Find some really talented graffiti artists and commission an 80-foot mural of the most obnoxious, but unactionable, subject your neighbor would loathe. And get them to do a super cool mural on your side, too. Get photos of him doing the videoing, then have the various photos artistically represented in one of the above-mentioned colors. Make neighbors cite something simple with a very obvious unbalance of symmetry, but make it also somewhat accidental, like when a mirror or painting is hanging on the wall but has that ever so slight slant. Make it drive the neighbor crazy seeing it every day and not being able to fix it. Paint it whatever color you want. But please don't illuminate it at night. The reflected light is bad for pollinators and birds. And if you plant some lovely pollinator-friendly things along this wall, you get the added bonus of having bird shit on his car. You get to look at flowers, he gets more annoyed, birds and bugs win. Get nature to do your dirty work. I found the druid. How my GF exposed a cheater and helped a friend with her own pregnancy test. This is fairly recent, so I haven't seen the full fallout yet. I'll edit and update as I hear more. My GF, and love of my life, has a friend, we'll call her Sarah. Sarah's great. Kind-hearted, trusting, bubbly. A few months ago Sarah began dating an arsehole I'll call Mark. Mark isn't great. We hung out as couples a few times and Mark seemed great on the outside, but my GF had a bad feeling about him. She said he reminded her of a snake charmer, always saying just the right thing, and she didn't trust him. But Sarah seemed happy, so live and let live. Sarah's devotion to Mark seemed to grow intensely and quickly. Then Sarah had a pregnancy scare and things turned dark. My GF is currently pregnant with our first and I am ecstatic, but terrified. Mark was not ecstatic. His true colors began to emerge and more than once Sarah spent the night here with my GF and a tub of Ben and Jerry's. Shit was sad. Apparently first Mark didn't believe it was his. Then he demanded an abortion. Finally he fessed up. You probably guessed this already, Mark is married with kids. There's no trucking job that keeps him away for days at a time. Sarah was devastated. She genuinely believed she was in a loving, monogamous relationship. It was a chemical pregnancy and less than a week later she messaged Mark with the news. For about 2 weeks Sarah near enough lived with us, which was hard, but not as hard as seeing my GF seethe with rage over what Mark did. My GF, love her, decided that Mark needed to face the consequences of his actions. She took it upon herself to conduct some thorough internet sleuthing and discovered that Mark had been leading a double life, dating multiple women simultaneously while still married to his unsuspecting wife. Sarah was just one of many, which made my GF even madder. My GF kept digging and managed to find Mark's home address. It wasn't even that hard. The idiot had a FB page with his real name, which was really similar to the name he'd been using. If he was calling himself Mark Evans, his real name was Matt Evans. It was comical how badly he'd been covering his tracks. On his FB page he'd sold something and shared his home address publicly. It's been over a month now, Sarah's mostly doing better. In an act of poetic justice, my girlfriend sent one of her own pregnancy tests to Mr. and Mrs. Evans, with a note that gave him no way out, tell her or I will. The only other thing on the note was the number he'd been using when dating Sarah, and his IG handle. Wouldn't you know it, but my GF had me deliver it through their letterbox after Mark had gone out. I insisted that if she was going to follow through, she wasn't to get physically close to Mark. This was only a few days ago. Sarah said Mark's messaged saying he made a mistake and wants to stay with her to work on the relationship, so my guess is he got kicked out. Sarah was thrilled getting to tell him to go F***ck himself. Fantastic, he got everything that was coming to him. I feel bad for his wife and kid, but also feel like this could have been a real positive test and an even worse situation. I've also learned to never piss off my GF. 10 out of 10 on the revenge, but if he is dating multiple women then Sarah should get a STD/STI panel to be on the safe side. Oh, hell yeah. Not sure how they work elsewhere, but in the UK they're free and easy to access. I haven't pried into this, but my GF let me know Sarah's all good in this regard. Your GF is an awesome human being. Congratulations on pregnancy. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.